All right, so we're gonna do an activity today to where you have to decide whether or not you are good at something, and then by the end of the lesson, you are going to try to see who is the best at what we are going to do, and who not necessarily is a bad guesser, but we're in terms of guessing, okay? Can someone raise their hand to do you remember or do you know how old I am? You could either guess or you can already remember how old I am, but either way is fine with me. Roderick, go ahead. 40. No, not quite 40, but that is a good guess because it's not that far off. Christian? 35. A little closer. And Mackenzie? 37. You went the wrong direction. He was close. Samuel? I'm 34. I'm 34, so it's right in there. So when you're walking down the street or you're trying to see or you look at people on TV, are you good at guessing their age? Yes. Or not? All right? Right. What would we're going to plot our data in terms of guessing guessing an age of a person today. And then we are going to estimate, okay? We're going to guess, and we're going to graph it towards the actual age of the person, okay? So what do you think that graph is going to look like? Because I know we've been doing a couple things with graphs lately, but what is that graph going to look like? It's going to look scattered, okay? Are you going to have a perfect guess every single time you do something, okay? So it is going to be scattered. What types of association or correlation can we have with a scatter plot?
Positive.
You could have a positive association. Anyone else? Positive was one of them. Rachel? A negative association or correlation. And the last one that we are going through? No correlation. It has nothing to do with either one. So I'm going to pass out a paper today, your activity sheet today, that is going to be a data collection sheet and packet of trying to take what you think only. This part one is only your data, and then later on we are going to see if you think that you are a good guesser according to your scatter plot and what we can use and find within the scatter plot to see whether we are or not. Okay? So I want you to put your name at the top of this packet, activity packet, and these actual guesses, these actual ages, and then your estimated guesses are going to be yours that you are going to plot today. Here's 2 more. All right. So famous people. Can I turn off these lights so they can see the color? Yeah. Actually, I can probably leave. Is that good or no? That's fine. Okay. All right, so what I have been doing, and I want you to make sure that you are paying attention, is that you don't have to write the entire person's name on there because it does take a little bit of time. Just the first name is fine. If you know the person, fine. If you even know their actual age, that is good for you, but I want you to make your best estimated age guess. If you don't know the person, it's just by their looks, right? It's just by their looks. So we are going to put down, not the actual age, I'm going to give you those later. You are going to make sure you put it in the column of your estimated age, okay? No, we are going to do famous people. Yep.
Do we have to? Do we guess
All right.
that?
I'm going to get this started.
Oh no.
All right, so the only thing is I don't really want any discussion until later, but I don't want any discussion on what you think the age is. I want you to write down truly what you think, because this is the first part is where you're going to just plot your own data, okay? And about 20 seconds for each person. Make sure you write down their first name. There are 20, so I just really want to go through each one, and then we'll give actual. So first name,
Do we have to
last
fill in the-
initial will be good. And estimated, I'm walking around just making sure you put it in the right spot. Remember, just first name is fine.
I have 22.
All right, about 20 seconds for each one.
Why didn't you choose the new picture?
I like that one.
I think she looks pretty like that. 23. Good.
Make your guess, about 5 more seconds.
Oh my gosh. Obama.
You're supposed to be good children. Why is she doing this stuff? He's like 50. He's like 55.
She looks like Lady Gaga.
It is.
Oh,
Yeah, her real name's Stephanie. Yep. You can put Lady Gaga. You don't have to put her.
Oh, wow. Germaniota? I think that's
should we
right.
say Lady Gaga?
She's like
Oh, she's
500 years old.
30.
You want to try to be the best guesser, so do the best thing for you to do is try to make your best guess and see later around in your group if you have the better guess than someone else.
I mean, look, she kind of looks kind of in the picture.
Who's that?
He's mine.
He was in
Transformers.
Oh,
Yeah, they cut him out because he asked for too much money.
Coles. Stanley. Yeah.
They cut him out of Transformers because he asked for too much money.
What movie is that?
All right, next one, Kristen Stewart. I really want you to, so I want to get through this pretty.
If the next one's Edward,
Quickly.
I swear to God, I'm going to throw something at the screen.
We already know what.
I don't think she's 30.
That's okay. It's a good person to estimate their age with, because you kind of have no idea.
This is fun. You think everybody's old too young? She's like,
All right, just make sure you are on, with Kim, you are number 8. You should be on number 8.
she doesn't date anybody. I thought she was talking about you. She has like a lot of sisters. She has like
I know, it's a little tough, sorry.
he's like 4. Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and make sure we go through the rest of these pretty quickly. Guys, the whole point is to make sure that your guess is the best compared to someone else's. So discussing the ages is a little bit, yeah, because then someone might take your idea of what they think, and maybe you even know. So let's just go ahead and do this really quickly. Nick Jonas.
I know her.
Well, the more quick that you have that answer is just the guess that actually first comes to you without any discussion, or you are really just trying to take what you think is the estimated guess. So just make sure you just put the first name. Anyone know who that is?
No, isn't she the girl from the
Go ahead. She is from NCIS, and it is a recent picture.
Is she a girl? Isn't she the girl from the
I don't know, I have not seen that.
Yeah, she is.
All right, next up.
Gay.
Winnie no, since 19.
All right, next up. Well, don't tell anyone.
Really?
All right, you should be on number 14, Ashton. Listen, just do the first name. It's fine.
Their kid that he is. Isn't he like 40? It is the
I just want the first name,
Have you seen
and then you
the
guess.
movie Wall Street that he's in? It's so inappropriate, but it's so good. Oh, I like her.
Jennifer Aniston.
Watch her be 40. He's like 28. 28.
Oh, Pat's.
All right, so you should be on number 18 with the next person.
Oh, I know how old she is.
Don't tell.
She's on that age.
What I just said? No, it's not. What skin complexion is it? White.
What was that hair? He was like Agnes very fast. It's faster than us. Yeah.
Last one will give you number 20. All right, I want your pencils down, eyes up front when you're done with your data collection, and then I will turn to the next slide that will give us the answers. I'm gonna read each one of them off because I have some people in the back that might not be able to see them as well. All right, so I can tell that group is done. They got their pencils down. Kurt, if you could turn around, just you can even look up here. All right, let's go ahead and find out the answers. Some of you will be right, and some will have guessed
Totally wrong.
Yes, I got one.
All right, there are a couple different
Yeah, I can't read that.
There's only three things that could happen when you're estimating a guess. Can someone tell me one of the three things that could possibly happen when you're estimating a guess of an age? Go ahead.
You could be wrong.
Wrong in which way?
Like far from it.
Far from it. Give me an example.
Like if he was 32 and you guessed 14.
14. So you took your estimated guess and you went under the actual age, so you could underguess. Can someone tell me what else you could do? Cassie?
Get it right.
You could get it exactly perfect, you could get it exactly right. And the opposite of what Roderick said, you could not just underguess it and be wrong, but you could also, what, Samuel? Overguess it and be wrong also, okay?
I'm not a guesser test.
So I'm going to go through and read each one of these, making sure that you are writing down the actual age in your chart. We have Taylor, which is I'm so sorry, he is 22.
That's an extra marker.
Guys, I want it nice and quiet in here so then the people that can't read it are going to be listening to me. Number 2.
What was it wrong? Dang.
Miley Cyrus is 22. Barack Obama is 53. Lady Gaga is 28. Shayna is 28. Kristen Stewart is 24. We have Jake is 34.
Oh my God, I was
Kim is 34.
Yes, I put 33.
Owen Wilson is 46. Nick Jonas is 22. Polly Perrette is 45.
For real?
Justin Bieber is 20.
Oh, I got that right.
Jennifer Lopez is 45.
I said
You put little stars next to ones you guessed perfectly. Ashton Kutcher is 36. Leonardo is 40.
Oh, wow.
Jennifer Aniston is 45.
Dude, I'm so good.
Robert Pattinson is 28. Selena Gomez is 22.
Oh, I got that right.
Jaden Smith is 16.
Oh, wow. I picked 17.
And Kirsten Dunst is 32.
I only put 32.
Juice.
Well, because he just turned
I got
16.
0, right?
All right, I need all of
Wait,
you
no, I
guys
got
up
one
front,
right.
please.
It was 5. 20.
All right, I'm going to give you the next step in which we're going to do, and just all eyes would be great. So you can put stars next to the ones that you got perfectly right at the bottom, and each time we go through a little section, you're going to ask yourself, were you a good guesser or not? Look at the question at the bottom of that thing. And justify your answer with a quick statement or sentence of if you were a good guesser or not, just by looking at your table. Hey.
Oh, I said 39.
All right, someone raise their hand and give me one of your answers of whether or not you thought that you were a good guesser or not. Just the quick statement that you wrote down. Roderick, what'd you write down?
No,
Why?
because I only got 1 out of 20.
All right, 1 out of 20. Yeah, that doesn't sound very good guessing. Angel?
I said kind of because I got close on so many of them. I was like either 1 or 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's saying that being close is kind of good. All right, Cassie?
Well, like, kind of, because I got 3 right, but the rest were like really close to the answer.
Oh, all right. So being close and then not having as many right, you could definitely say if you were good or not as good as someone else. All right, so we are going to turn to part 2 in your activity packet. All right, if someone would like to read out loud just the directions of what we're going to start on part 2, and then you're going to go through the entire I think before we break for lunch, you will have your graph done, okay? So Angel, go ahead and read to us what we are going to do in analyzing the data that we have by putting it in a graph. Go ahead.
Using the grid below, graph your data. Be sure to label your axis and scale and place a title on the graph.
All right, so can anyone tell me what it means to be sure to label your axes and scale? Well, the scale's already there for you, but what does that mean when you're labeling your graph? Zach?
Like label the title on the graph, like side.
Yep, label, he's pointing to this right here.
And the bottom.
The bottom here, this is gonna be your what? Your Y and X. Okay, so we need to make sure that you label that correctly with the data that you have gotten. And I think that will bring us up to the break. But we're gonna go through and read and guide us through the next set of questions that we have up here. Does anyone wanna read next what we're looking for while we are graphing our data? Anyone else wanna read out loud? Go ahead, Christian.
Is your graph linear? Why or why not?
Okay, so we're going to be thinking about that. Number 4. Anyone wanna read number 4? Cassie, think.
Is there a correlation or association between the actual ages and your guesses?
Okay.
If so, what is your association?
Thank you, sorry. What you're trying to do while you're graphing is think of all of these questions that you are going to then have to answer about your own data. Keep going on with number 4, Cassie. Can you draw?
Can you draw a line that fits the cluster of points in that will best describe the data?
All right, thank you. And number 5, Zach.
Choose 2 points to prepare a line of the best fit. Then draw the line of the best fit on your graph. First point, second point.
All right. And number 6, Angel.
Find the slope. Find the y.
Okay. And number 7, Zach again.
What is the equation for your line of best fit?
And then once again, after you do all of that and you analyze what it looks like on a graph, you are going to ask yourself again, were you a good guesser, and you're going to justify your answer. Sometimes your data that you're going to use in a different way, putting it on that graph, scattering the plots, will then tell you differently or the same thing. So go ahead and get started with part 2 with your own data. And I'm going to walk around. If you have any questions, just make sure that you are doing all of the things that you're supposed to do on your graph before you start with the questions, okay?
You plot the
Okay, so
points
you know how to label your axis and
for what you thought the age was.
All right, so why don't you start with
Graph
that?
those.
So look over here. You're going to use your data.
You look like nothing. Yeah, never mind.
Okay, so you're going to plot it on here. Get started with that. Yep.
So am I supposed to like the real age and my age?
Okay, so your independent variable will be something that you already know. It independently stands on its own. Okay, and then they have to have an actual age before you have your right.
So my estimate age would be that.
Okay. Already got some time.
So,
Angel, you
All right, what's your question? Okay, do you know how to make a graph? And all right, so go ahead. What are we going to put on our graph? Okay, first let's just label it, okay? So your independent variable is going to be the variable that stands on its own. What set of data do we have that does not change and does not at all, that happens to where you don't need the other one? Does that make sense? Independent means that it's already there, that you're independently have, oops, I'm sorry. Your data. See how this right here? What is that one?
What, this one? It went up,
Right. They have to have an actual age before you actually estimate, right? So your independent variable goes on your x-axis.
so actual age will go right here.
There you go. Okay, let's think about how you need to label your graph. How are you going to label your graph? Okay, so what two things are you going to label? What two things are you going to plot on your graph?
The age.
Okay, which types of ages do we have? Estimate. Okay, so the independent variable goes on the x-axis. Okay, remember to where
Don't embarrass yourself, Cameron.
that is the one where you have, and it can stand independently on its own. Does that make sense? So you have to have a what before you can do dependent on something else. So here you go. You have to have your what? You have to have the actual age before you can estimate an age. Okay. So where is that going to go on your? There you go, on your x. Okay. So why don't you set that up, and then you can start plotting your points. Give yourself a title of your graph, which could just be the title of the activity.
20.
All right. Very good.
Hey, that is your.
All right. Let's go. Let's plot a point when you're done with that. Okay.
Look. Say, you know how both of them are 22? How are you gonna write it again? You have to write 22 again?
All right. So let's look at our first set that we have. We have Taylor Lautner is actually how old? But you guessed, you estimated. Okay. Can you show me how you would possibly, where you would put that point? It was actually how old? And you estimated, which was really close.
I don't think
49.
So go ahead. So eventually, how many points are you going to have on your graph? How many people do we have? 20. So we'll have 20 points on there. That's going to be like a cluster of points, that scatter plot we're looking for, okay? All right.
No, it's not accurate.
Those look pretty good.
This is not good.
I know. What do you think?
Isn't this one like the organic?
So what are you going to be plotting on here?